Ever had someone look at you like they already knew you? Like they've met you before, but just can't remember when? Lily looked at me that way one night, and what she said still echoes in my head. Daddy, when I was big like you, I used to watch you sleep. I'm Ben, living in a quiet Wisconsin suburb with my 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Our house sits in a typical American neighborhood, snow-covered lawns, Christmas lights hanging on driveways, and that soft winter silence that only the wind breaks. Life was simple, predictable. I worked from home, spending most evenings balancing between cooking dinner and helping Lily with her homework. Chicken soup simmering on the stove, the TV muted in the background, and Lily sitting at the dining table coloring skies in purple and orange, like she saw the world differently. My wife, Anna, passed away 2 years ago. Everything changed after that. Since then, I've handled every small routine alone. School lunches, bedtime stories, even the lullabies she used to sing. I got a little obsessed with safety, double-checking window locks, adjusting the baby monitor, and fine-tuning the nightlight till it cast the perfect soft glow over Lily's face. Lily was smart, but there was something off about her sometimes. She'd say things that felt way too mature for her age. I'd always laugh it off. But that night, what she said froze me to my core. Our nights were always the same. After dinner, Lily would hug her pink teddy bear Muffin, and I'd sit by her bed reading bedtime stories. Usually the Velveteen Rabbit or Goodnight Moon. The room glowed in warm yellow light, and snowflakes drifted softly outside the window. Everything felt peaceful, perfectly normal. But that night, something was different. I'd just finished the last line of the story when Lily lifted her head, her eyes calm but distant. She said quietly, "Daddy, when I was big like you, I used to watch you sleep." I froze. Her tone wasn't playful. There was no curiosity, no imagination, just certainty. I chuckled awkwardly and asked, "What do you mean, sweetheart?" She shrugged. "I don't know. I just remember." I told myself it was just kid stuff. Weird things kids say sometimes. But when I left her room, I swear I felt someone watching me from the corner. The air felt heavier, warmer, like it was holding its breath. I tried to shake it off. Maybe it was just the heater. The next day, Lily came home from school, dropped her backpack, and went straight for her art supplies. While I was making coffee, I could hear her quietly painting, focused, calm. I figured it was another school project. But when I looked at the canvas, my stomach turned a little. She'd painted a bedroom, our bedroom, the same blue-gray walls, the same bed. A man was lying there, asleep. That was me. And beside the bed stood another figure, a woman with dark hair, her face blurred like a smudge. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Who's this, Lily?" Without looking up, she said softly, "That's me. When I was yours before." Her tone was so casual, like she was talking about a normal memory. I laughed nervously and told myself it was just imagination. But from that day, she started referring to her teddy as her. "She helps me remember," Lily would whisper. Every night, something small but strange would happen. Her bedroom door half open, the teddy sitting upright at the edge of her bed. When I asked, she'd say, "She's learning to stand again." That night, snow was falling outside, flakes glowing gold under the streetlights. The whole house was still, except for the soft hum of the heater. I was sipping cocoa when I heard a quiet thud upstairs from Lily's room. I figured she dropped a toy, but something in me said to go check. The wooden stairs creaked with every step. I gently pushed her door open. Her room was dim, the moonlight spilling through the curtains. And there, right at the edge of her bed, her teddy was standing, perfectly upright, balanced, like someone had just placed it there. Lily was awake, eyes half open, and she whispered. She stood up. I didn't move. Her tone was calm, too calm. I picked up the teddy and set it on the chair, but when I touched it, the fur was warm, like it had just been held. I took a deep breath, turned off the light, and closed the door. In the hallway mirror, I caught a quick glimpse, the faint outline of a woman behind me, just watching as I shut the door. After that, sleep became impossible. Every sound, every shadow made me tense. I installed a sleep camera app on my phone, just for peace of mind. I needed to see that nothing was wrong. The next morning, I checked the footage, and my heart nearly stopped. At 2:43 a.m., Lily was lying still in bed. But the teddy, the one I'd placed on the chair, was on the floor now, and a faint shadow hovered over it. Tall, human-shaped, slowly bending toward Lily's face. I deleted the app immediately, but that image stuck with me. That dark figure leaning over her, too close. The following night, when I turned off her lights, Lily whispered, barely audible, but clear. She says you used to hold me when I cried. The warmth in the room vanished. My blood went cold. What did she mean? Was she remembering a past life? Or was someone, trying to come back through her? Morning came, quiet as always. The coffee machine hummed, and Lily sat at the table eating cereal like nothing had happened. Her teddy rested neatly beside her chair, right where it always was. Trying to sound normal, I asked, "Did you sleep okay, sweetheart?" She set her spoon down, smiled gently, too calm, and she said thank you for watching, Daddy. I thought maybe I misheard her, but her eyes didn't waver. No joke, no confusion, just quiet sincerity. The heater buzzed softly. On the kitchen window, I noticed condensation, and right there, a faint handprint. Not small like a child's, larger, an adult's. I tried wiping it away, but every time the sunlight shifted, the print reappeared. Since that day, nights have felt different, peaceful, but never empty. Lily sleeps soundly, her teddy by her side, and from the living room, I sometimes feel a soft, lingering warmth, like a silent, grateful presence never really left. Maybe she's always been here. Ethan set the TV remote down and said calmly, "Mommy, the man in the corner is smiling at me." I froze for a second. There was nothing in the corner, just dim light and the curtain's shadow. But the way he said it, it wasn't playful. There was no giggle, no imagination in his voice, just quiet certainty. "I'm Hannah. I live in a small, quiet town in Oregon with my 5-year-old son, Ethan. Everything here looks normal. A modest rented house, an old oak tree in the backyard, and evenings filled with cartoons and reheated leftovers. I work long shifts at a local cafe, where tired smiles are part of the uniform. Being a single mom's not easy, but Ethan is the one bright spot that keeps me going. I try to stay present for him, but sometimes it feels like I'm just surviving, not really living. Ethan's a little different, not loud, always lost in thought. He loves drawing and fills his sketchbook with weird shapes and faces. Sometimes he talks about imaginary friends, and I usually just laugh it off. Kids do that all the time, right? But that day felt different. When he said, "Mommy, the man in the corner is smiling at me," I almost dropped my coffee. There was no hint of make-believe in his eyes. Every evening followed the same easy routine. I'd cook dinner in the kitchen while Ethan played with his toy trucks, watching cartoons in the living room. The TV's soft glow touched his face. The stove hissed in the background. Everything normal, predictable, comforting. But for weeks, I'd noticed something off. His eyes always drifted toward the same corner of the room. I figured it was just shadows or reflections. But one night, I caught him grinning at that corner, like he was sharing a secret with someone. I asked casually, "Who are you talking to, buddy?" He didn't answer right away. Then, in this low voice, he said, "He's funny when you don't look." It gave me chills, but I brushed it off. Kids say creepy stuff sometimes, right? That night, I left the lights on a little brighter, just for comfort. But the next morning, Ethan pointed at his pillow and said he left footprints. The pillow was spotless, but his serious little face stuck in my head. Over the next few days, things seemed normal, at least on the surface. But Ethan started acting different. He was quieter, withdrawn. Sometimes at night, I'd hear him whispering softly, like he was talking to someone. From my room, I'd call out, "Ethan, who are you talking to?" He'd answer, calm as ever, "He's standing by the door." I'd rush to his room, turn on the lights, and check everything. But there was never anyone there. Just heavy silence. One night, I noticed a thin layer of dust on the edge of his blanket, like someone had stepped there. I tried to rationalize it, maybe a draft, maybe toys, but the unease was growing. Every night, I locked the windows, pulled the curtains tight, told myself it was just a phase. But even in the kitchen, I sometimes felt eyes on me, like someone was quietly watching. Nothing showed in the reflection, yet the air felt heavy, thick. One evening, Ethan said quietly, "He doesn't like when you look at him." That single line sent a chill crawling down my spine. That night was dead quiet. The only sound was the fridge humming. I switched off the kitchen light and walked through the living room. The curtains swayed slightly from the heater's breeze, and that's when I saw it. Out of the corner of my eye, a faint shape, blurry and still, like a shadow caught halfway between light and solid. My steps slowed. Maybe it was a reflection, maybe passing headlights, but no light was coming through the window. Just stillness. That shadow stood right there in the corner, its faint outline facing Ethan's room. My heart started pounding. I slowly reached for the light switch, and as soon as the light came on, everything looked normal again. Empty corner. No shadow, no shape. But there was a thin mark on the wall, a faint smear, like someone had dragged a wet finger across the paint. Exactly where that blur had been. I tried telling myself it was nothing, a trick of the eyes. But that night, I laid a blanket next to Ethan's bed. Sleep came, but peace didn't. I kept telling myself it was just stress, single mom life, exhaustion, lack of sleep. But the next morning, when sunlight hit that same wall, I saw the mark again. Only this time, it looked darker, like something had seeped out from underneath the paint. Not like a stain, more like something alive beneath the surface. Ethan sat quietly eating breakfast and said, without looking up, "He came closer last night." A cold wave shot through me. I hugged him, but his shoulders were freezing, like he'd been standing in the cold for hours. I told myself I'd check every corner. The basement, attic, windows, all locked, all safe. But when I came back to the living room, I froze. Ethan's favorite red toy truck was sitting in the corner, the exact same spot where the man stood. And I knew for sure. I'd left that truck by his bed the night before. I kept trying to convince myself it was all in my head. Overthinking, stress, maybe grief playing tricks on me. But the next morning, sunlight crept across the wall, and I saw it again. That dark, damp smear in the corner. It looked almost organic now. I reached out to touch it, and a cold chill spread through my fingers. Deep, unnatural cold. That's when Ethan quietly appeared behind me and said, "He came closer last night." There was no fear in his voice, just calm certainty. I pulled him close. His skin was ice cold, like he'd been standing near something not human. I decided to check the whole house again. Basement, attic, doors, everything was secure. But when I came back to the living room, my heart stopped. Ethan's red toy truck was right there in the corner, the same spot where the man stood. And I swear, I remember putting it beside his bed the night before.